Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Talking God and Politics with Mark, Mike, and my lovely wife, Denise. It's been a while. Mark was out of town, then we were out of town, but we finally got back together, Mark.
Yes, we do have a life, which is a good thing. There's been some interesting stuff happen. Looks like Trump has single-handedly saved the Middle East.
Oh,
Uh,
jeez.
Woo!
Yeah, we call that a little too late.
yeah, and the
Um,
federal government has been shut down now for what are we going on? Going on the second week.
Not a
Now,
chemtrail in the sky.
that's
We're
right, everything's
loving it.
clear. Now, if we can get the Federal Reserve to shut down, man,
We'd
Oh,
be doing
this
great.
would be
yeah,
great.
yeah. And we can get rid of Israel so we wouldn't be worrying about any wars. And
Yeah, exactly. Turn around.
well, I have a little bit of an exciting announcement before we get started. My Rapture book should be coming out here in a few weeks. I just got everything done, got it formatted, typeset, got the cover and the back cover done. And folks, this is really what is fueling a lot of the uh, war in the Middle East is the whole dispensational mindset that I grew up in Calvary Chapel and even at Grace Community under John MacArthur. And that is that 1948 was a fulfillment of a prophecy, and now the prophetic countdown is starting to tick now that Israel's become a nation again. And we're that generation that Jesus was talking about in the Olivet Discourse. This generation was really that generation, of the generation that would see 1948. 1948 plus 40 years was supposed to be 1988. But if you're pre trib rapture, you take 7 years from that, and the rapture was supposed to take place in 1981. And then it was 1988. Oh, well, we missed it, something. It was 1989, and and on it goes. Well, 40 years has turned into 77 years at this point, Mark. So no rapture. And these folks want a war in the Middle East because they truly think that modern Israel is somehow prophetic and that if they can make this war happen, they're going to get raptured physically and taken off the planet. So I kind of wanted to go at the very heart of this carrot and stick eschatology and show how the rapture was fulfilled when Jesus says it would be fulfilled in his generation. And of course, Paul said that the Thessalonians themselves would be alive to witness this event, being consistent with Jesus' teaching. And so then the rub is, well, what is the rapture if it's not bodies flying off the planet? And of course, I do a in-depth study on the Greek word harpazo and how Jesus uses it in the Gospels. And I won't give it away, but it coincides perfectly with what Jesus says in Luke 17 when he says that when the Son of Man is revealed from heaven, from like a bright light, which in the Greek is just bright light. So I believe that's the sun, like the daylight of the sun shining from the east and the west. When he's revealed at his second coming, then the kingdom would be revealed within us. And no one would be able to say, see here or see there. And that's exactly how the Greek word harpazo is used by Jesus in the Gospels. It's an internal event. And that is what Paul is talking about in First Thessalonians 4. So hopefully this book will be out here in a few weeks and you guys can place some orders and really help people that are because this is what they're after. This is why they're trying to self-fulfill war in the Middle East and help Israel get their greater Israel project. It all comes down to this. This boomer generation is dying off, and by God, they're going to have this rapture, even if it's 30, 40 years late.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's, they're going to drag us into World War III, thinking it's going to happen. So we've got to teach them what this really is. and that Jesus truly is faithful and true, and he
You know,
fulfills
it's
promise.
interesting. You said, when he says, don't look there, look over here, you know, people that read that just read it as, well, that's because no one knows the time or day of when it's going to happen. So Jesus is telling them, don't worry about looking over there. You're never going to understand it. But the reality was he was talking about a spiritual thing that was going to happen. So
Yeah,
that's a good point that
he
I think a
says
lot of
that it
people miss.
he says it's going to be revealed or fulfilled within the heart of a person.
Yeah,
That's why he says you're not going to be able to see
be
it,
able to see it. That's right.
but then he tells you why you're not going to be able to see it, because the fulfillment is within you.
But
And that's exactly what Paul said. Paul said in Colossians, Christ in you is the hope of glory. And, Christ in us and us in him is the fulfillment of the new covenant.
yeah,
And, that's what this is all about. It has nothing to do with flying off the planet and corpses
yeah,
flying out of the graveyards and
and
the
you got to
planet
read.
burning up or any of that crap.
I think for people that want to talk full preterism, because you're constantly uh, fighting arguments. Oh, well, what about the Bible says, that he's going to come back just as he left, and then, oh, but he says, you're not. They're going to come down out of the sky, and everyone's going to see it, and you've got to know how to defend these arguments before you can even begin to say, okay, let's talk about scripture in spiritual things, because until then, well, to God, what is it? A day is 1,000 years, and he's quoting Moses. Peter is out of the Psalms, but
Almighty.
you've got to defend. You've got to first fight this argument before you can then begin to say, okay, let's look at this um, at a spiritual level, and let's look at what the Scripture says. Until then, people are just focused on,
Well, they've
well,
been
what about this?
brainwashed.
What about this? That's
They've
right.
been brainwashed so much. It's like, the Rockefellers took over the medical system, and our generation doesn't know anything other than the
Yeah.
Rockefeller. Although there's an awakening taking place and we're learning, what happened, but most Christians have no idea that Christianity has been taken over by Talmudic Rothschilds
Mhm.
through the heresy of dispensationalism. And that money
Yeah.
has made this the face
That's
of
right.
modern day Christianity, and they're the only ones allowed in our political system, so that they can manipulate them. And I mean, you saw Ted Cruz, and you see Lindsey Graham, you see Mike Johnson. I mean, all of them. I mean, they
Mhm.
get mad. I mean, they are brutally honest. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Israel, 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 Israel,
Yeah.
and
Well, because they listen to a pastor that they grew up with, or they listen to someone that told them this. Because obviously, especially those two guys, you can tell they've never read the Bible. I mean, Tucker did an interview with Ted Cruz that proved that. So they're just going by what someone else tells them, and that's what you first have to break down before you can get into the meat of the scripture and begin to open their eyes.
exactly. Well, I thought we would lead off with a little video by Candace, because most of the time she's pretty dead on whenever she's not trying to pawn off her Roman Catholicism nonsense. But
She's been doing it.
the first thing I thought of when I saw all this hype with Trump and oh, he needs to get the Nobel Peace Prize, I was disgusted, because I was like, oh, this is so late. This is a little too late. Like, you let Trump, you let all these kids die. Like, you
Yep.
could have done something about this, but
Yep.
because you were in the pocket of Benjamin Netanyahu,
Yeah.
and you're a Zionist and everything else, you let this happen. And you were planning on having Gaza as this beachfront property for your damn Trump hotel. And then you've got that snake Jared Kushner as a son-in-law who's also going, "Ooh, I can't wait to invest in Gaza and the Gaza." I mean, this is disgusting. And Candace, and I was sick to my stomach when I heard that, and then I saw this by Candace, and she, as eloquent as she is, and as passionate as she is, she just nailed this. So let's go ahead and watch Candace here for a second.
Topic of Israel. There was a very good video that came out. Actually, let's first talk about the Israel and Hamas peace deal that they're trying to shove down our throats. Now, if you're reading the headlines, a peace agreement is what we're calling it, has been reached between Israel and Hamas. Oh my gosh, because they decided that there's going to be phases and Israel is going to partially withdraw its troops from Gaza and Hamas is going to release the remaining hostages. And this is, of course, after everything that happened on October 7th. Don't forget about October 7th. And yeah, like hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are missing. And yeah, they have destroyed 85% of Gaza, and they're going to try to tell us that we've reached peace.
Yeah.
At the center of it was Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. They arrived on Wednesday morning to represent the U.S. negotiators from Israel, and Hamas and the mediators from Qatar and Egypt and Turkey also participated. And we're supposed to go, wow, that's amazing. Trump put a statement out on Truth Social. He wrote, I'm very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable, and everlasting peace, that all parties will be treated fairly. I can't even finish it because it makes me sick that they think we're this dumb. 85% of Gaza has been destroyed in this pre-planned, controlled demolition of Gaza. Even Netanyahu is on camera explicitly before October 7th saying we need to hit them so hard that they can't come back. Jared Kushner is involved in, he will financially benefit from whatever they build in its place. Again, all of this began before October 7th, right? So we are supposed to believe that this isn't just, well, business as usual. We got done, we need to get done, and now we can begin phase two. But we're supposed to thank them. We're supposed to thank the monsters that did this. You guys have it in your heart to say thank you? Thank you to Jared Kushner and Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, who are just business partners playing a role, convinced that we're all so stupid. I mean, let's roll the clip back from Jared Kushner when he sat down at Harvard, Assad operation, to speak about their aim. This is February 15th, 2024. Take a listen.
There are real fears on the part of Arabs, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of them, who think once Gazans leave Gaza, Netanyahu's never going to let them back in.
Maybe, but I'm not sure there's much left of Gaza at this point. So, if you think about even the construct, like, Gaza was not really a historical precedent, right? It was the result of a war, right? You had tribes that were in different places, but then Gaza became a thing. Egypt, used to run it. And then, over time, you had different governments that came in different ways. So you have another war, usually when wars happen, borders are changed historically over time. And so my sense is I would say, how do we deal with the terror threat that is there so that it cannot be a threat to Israel or to Egypt, right? I think that both sides are spending a fortune on military. I think neither side really wants to have an organization enclave right between them. And Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to, if people would focus on kind of building up, livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterwards.
Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize, by the way.
Oh, he wants it bad.
Oh, yeah.
Planned ethnic cleansing so that they could profit on the land and turn it into a beach town. So let me say this. This is our never again, okay?
Yeah.
Holocaust. A Holocaust just happened. A real Holocaust just happened. We will never forget this. You need to tell your children what happened in Gaza. You need to tell them exactly who did it, exactly whose families were involved in this. And when you hear in the future somebody tell you, like, we're going to Gaza Beach for a vacation, you need to look at them like they are the absolute vermin of our society, because they are. They are. Their children will be cursed, okay? If you go and you play in the sand where you know that your forefathers planned to mass murder children, you will be cursed. Every person who steps foot on that, every family that is set to inherit what they did, they will be cursed. Your children's children will be cursed. Gaza belongs to nobody but the Palestinians. So when you begin to move the Israelis in there, and when the Trump Hotel gets built on there, I caution the rest of the world to stay far away from that cursed land, because something is coming. You can't commit that much evil in broad daylight and not think it's going to come back to haunt you. Anyways, God bless. May he get his Nobel Peace Prize.
She nailed it. I don't know about the whole, the cursed land stuff.
Right.
I get the gist of what she's saying,
Yeah.
and that is true.
It will be interesting to see what God does, because the reality is that that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone to, maybe over the history of time, but the builders and everyone that wants to profit off this, ooh, man, it's just sick.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Trump, again, Trump doesn't know if he's saved. He's so happy that his daughter renounced Christ and became a quote unquote Jew. Why don't you have something to share on that, I think.
Yeah, so Jesse Waters put this out yesterday night. It was interesting. This Patrick Bet-David, maybe some of you guys know who he is. He's got 1.4 million followers on X, and looks like his podcast does well. I was kind of glad that I didn't know who he was. So,
who's
anyway,
the next story you're going to hear about the things that they do to them when they slash?
Let's see. Here we go.
What got it done?
Him. He got it done. Listen, he's speculating whether he's going to make it to heaven or not. I think he's got his card. He's like, hey, the man upstairs is going to say, Donald Trump, come on up here. Let's make some big deals. He may be brokering deals here soon, one day when he's no longer here with us in heaven. But no, this is a monumental moment
because there's deals
for the world. I think the people we got to be thinking about, there is us media podcast. We're talking, there's the folks in the White House. There's Americans who maybe consume their content through TV or Twitter or X or YouTube. But then there's the families who live there in Gaza, live in Israel, who are in fear. The 20 folks who were released today, going back to their parents, that's someone's son, that's someone's father, that's someone's brother, that's someone's friend. You haven't seen them for a while.
Yeah, he's just talking about the wrong people.
Exactly.
So, yeah, he just needs to flip that.
Yeah.
The two things I hate worse than anything is when people call God the big guy and the man upstairs. It just irritates me and just gets all over me. That is blatant disrespect for God of the universe that could take you like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't even know who this guy is, but he has no clue. And all it does is feed Trump's ego. And because our last episode I think showed a video of where Trump talked about that, was like, oh yeah, if I can get this peace deal done, I'm getting in. And then he's just dumping fuel on the fire with this. Oh man, it's totally backwards from what everything that we as Christians need to do.
I think that recently he did an interview, Trump did, where he said, he wasn't sure if he was getting into heaven, and maybe he wasn't getting into heaven, but he wanted to be known as the peace president, and he really wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. And everything was just set up way too conveniently in the Middle East.
I think this is what the problem is. Trump, although he inherited a lot of money from his dad, he still, even with that money, he still has an amazing work ethic. Of course, he went into bankruptcy and the Rothschilds bailed him out for billions. But after that, he seemed to have been doing really well business-wise. And he's got an incredible work ethic. And I think that's a part of the problem. The guy works like 14 hours a day, barely gets any sleep. And so in his mind, salvation is by works.
Yes.
He works so hard, and so I've got to work for my salvation. And so he's trying to outweigh the bad things in his life with the good things in his life. And he has no idea what Romans says, where Romans talks about through one man's disobedience, Adam, death and sin came into the world. But through one man's obedience, Christ, righteousness and life come to us who believe in Christ and his righteousness, his works.
Yeah.
That's all you have to know. That's
Yeah.
all you have to trust, and has nothing to do with your performance.
Well, and
he's lost, and that's why Zionism and Talmudic Judaism appeals to him, because that is antichrist.
Yeah.
Works-based salvation is
antichrist. That's right. Well, and he's a billionaire, just like the other billionaires, and they look at themselves as, I made this, I did this, and then all of a sudden money becomes a thing where it's security. Jesus says it's harder for a rich man to get in heaven. It's because it has nothing to do with you being rich. A lot of Christians go, oh, well, we can't be rich because he said that. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do because what you eventually happens is you put your faith in that. You put your salvation in that. You say, no, this is what's going to save me. And you forget, well, maybe not forget because you never really knew it, but you don't put, that's the hardest thing for especially older people that have made a lot of money that now are looking, they're looking at the backside of life and they're saying, all right, I'm dying. What is the true end? And it's hard to see because they've put their faith in themselves and their money for so long that only God can turn their heart around.
But Mark, he has Paula White as his spiritual advisor.
Yeah, where is she, by the way?
Maybe she can have another vision and talk with God and come back down and give us the definitive answer for Trump. Maybe Trump has to do some more nice things for Israel. Maybe Trump has to help them get that greater Israel project and go to war with Iran so we can all get raptured. Then maybe Trump will have the card to go to heaven.
Yeah, I don't know how much she's getting paid to be his spiritual advisor, but they need to get all that money back because she's terrible. She's been terrible.
She's a wicked woman, is what she is. Well, speaking
Isn't she dating Benny? I think she's dating Ben. Didn't she leave her husband for Benny Hinn? Benny Hinn.
She was caught. She was caught in some country with Benny Hinn holding hands coming out of a hotel.
Benny Hinn, dude.
And they were trying to spin it, and it was just disgusting. The woman's already had so many affairs, and just like this Pastor Greg Locke, who shanked his secretary, married her, and it's just and yet these guys are the ones that are filled with the Holy Spirit.
Right. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Trump, of course, he doesn't know if he's saved, and he's so excited that his daughter, he announced that, he was excited over there in Israel that his daughter renounced Christ to be Jewish. So yeah, good way to go, Trump. And here's something else, borderline treason. I'll let the audience figure this out. Hang on a second here.
Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves
this is Miriam Adelson.
Miriam, stand up, please. She really
gave him $100 million.
She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. Miriam.
Now there's another clip.
Funny, huh?
Yeah, there's another clip where they show in this speech how he moved, the Jerusalem and our embassy over to Jerusalem, got Golden Heights, did all these things for Israel. And then clip by clip, it shows Miriam Adelson saying that's what she wants. And then the opposite clip is Trump saying that he did everything that she has asked him to do. This is foreign influence. Trump is actually a treasonous traitor at this point if he is being paid $100 million in this last campaign. I don't know how much he got from her last campaign, but these are the people that are running our country, and he's blatantly admitting it. He is telling the world, yeah, they bought me. I'm doing what another nation is telling me and paying me to do. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't really see it, but just so that everybody's clear, that's one of the billionaires that was running ads against Thomas Massey.
Yes.
To get him thrown out of office, which Kentucky's not having anything to do with it. They're just wasting their money. He's going to get reelected, as he should.
Well, him and Matt Gaetz need to be, I don't know who's president and who's vice president, but that ticket right there, I'm telling you right now, Matt Gaetz and Massey for president and vice president, if they make a move, they would have so many of us behind them.
I think more the closer candidate could be Rand Paul for president, at least. Massey may have a shot at something under the president, but Gates, I don't know, man. A lot of people don't know who he is. A lot of people don't like him.
They do. Everybody knows who Gates is, and he's on now he's on a news network.
Well, and the the independents that go either way, it'd be hard to get him. But I think Rand Paul, and look, Thomas Massey's making a name for himself just by the fact that Trump is campaigning, getting all those billionaire friends to get rid of him. And I think independents love an underdog like that. So absolutely, I think he's in. I just think Rand Paul's been around long enough that he would be somebody that I could see actually be legitimately a contender.
Yeah. Well, before you talk about gold and silver, I've got two more topics to talk about. Actually, they kind of dovetail together. If you've watched the Tucker interview with Alex Jones, which I've already known about the Podesta plan, and I've also already know about 2025 being the year that they were going to start public executions, which they have with Charlie Kirk. I thought this guy has eloquently exposed what is going to happen this year with the public executions and the Podesta plan is a civil war. They were wargaming this. If Trump would have got elected in 2020, they were going to have a civil war. They were going to recede from the Union. They were going to have a secede from the Union and have a Western alliance and so forth. And they were going to, use Black Lives Matter, Antifa to accomplish this.
Great.
Right? Well, yeah.
Go.
But a lot of people die, unfortunately. Anyway, but this guy's exposing that, and he's done a really good job. Let's listen to what he has to say. By the way, what is this guy's name?
I don't know.
Highly classified deep state government documents buried for over 2 decades have surfaced. They reveal a plan so dark, so psychotic, it defies belief. The live, televised execution of prominent Americans. Not criminals, not traitors, patriots. The documents describe it all. Maximum shock value, irreversible public trauma. Executions so graphic, so unforgettable, they would paralyze a nation in fear. And the targets? Every single one of them has something in common. They refused to kneel. They reached too many people. They couldn't be bought. Charlie Kirk wasn't the goal, he was the warning. Because according to the documents, 4 more names are on the list. 4 executions, 4 broadcasts, 4 messages to the nation. And the next one could happen any day now. If the idea of mass bloodshed and public executions sounds too extreme to believe, take a look at what's hiding in plain sight. Deep state's government files, stamped NASA and CIA, revealed decades of coordinated planning for a wave of assassinations and false flag events beginning in 2025. And if that isn't disturbing enough, a document published just before 9/11 outlines a chilling strategy to destabilize America by assassinating prominent dissidents live on TV, maximizing shock, fear, and public trauma. Charlie Kirk was the first.
It says on the website, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare circa 2025. And as I decided to just flip through it quickly to see what it was about, I was a little stunned. What it said, which was quite shocking, on page 93, it said, capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time, and conduct serious war and collateral damage and exploitation. On the same page 93, they say exploit CNN syndrome. Now, CNN, of course, is the network, the news media network.
According to those familiar with his final months, he was under immense pressure to comply. And when he refused, the message was made clear. The globalists have spoken. They will not tolerate dissent. According to those who knew him best, Charlie was under relentless pressure in his final months. Warned, threatened, cornered. When he refused to comply, the message was delivered in blood. Prominent conservative voices who were refusing to bend the knee to the globalist elite and their Israeli henchmen now find themselves in the same crosshairs as Charlie Kirk. And they know it. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and a handful of others, targets of a machine that's declared war on anybody who won't kneel. The globalists have spoken. Dissent is treason. Candace Owens has confirmed that she set up a dead man switch, a last resort fail-safe to release buried information if anything happens to her.
But I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years.
It's a move that says it all. The fear is real, and the clock is ticking.
Do you think it's normal, by the way, that basically every person who speaks about Israel has to basically say a statement that's like, I don't want to get killed? That's not a normal thought process to have. We don't have that about any other country in the world, except for the one that, took over ours. And that's the truth, okay? We are an occupied nation.
Netanyahu didn't just declare war overseas, he declared war online. When he called social media Israel's new battleground, he wasn't joking. He was talking about you, your mind, your data, your freedom.
Yeah. And of course, Kirk's...
There was a very good video.
Of course, Kirk's Erica, his wife, her mother runs the surveillance company that surveyed and spied on everyone at his funeral, all the Christians there, to, start spamming them with all the pro-media propaganda. That's a little disconcerting.
Yeah. Yes, and her father also has ties to the Department of Defense, specifically the department that works ensuring the Iron Dome stays intact.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a Zionist club, and we ain't in it.
Right.
And apparently Charlie Kirk didn't want to be in it either.
But you know what? We are Zion. We are the city of the living God. We're in the club that really matters.
That's right.
Because when they die, they're going to find out they weren't in the club.
Ooh, man. Yes.
It's going to be painful.
People, I get it. We're very, everything about us is tangible and material. And so, that's what we think. That's the plane we think on. That's our paradigm. We think, oh man, 90 is a long time. But the reality is when you're, 80 and then you're 85, you're like, it really wasn't that long.
Right.
And you begin to say, okay, what happens after this? And as Christians, we still focus on that. 90 years compared to eternity. Why do we focus on that? It's 90 years compared to eternity. And that's if you're lucky, or by God's grace. I don't believe in luck. But if God's grace lets you live till 90, that's nothing. That's nothing. So when Jesus comes, do you think he's going to spend when he came, do you think he spent one second?
What are you talking about, Mark?
Well, I was getting to a point. When he came, he didn't spend 1 second on physical things. So why would, he come back physically again?
Well, Hebrews 5:7 talks about him in the days of his flesh, where he's not coming back in the days of his flesh. That's the whole point. Is like we don't know Christ anymore after according to the flesh.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
but
as far as he cared about physical things while he was in the flesh. I mean, he healed people. He had compassion on the sick. He fed the hungry. But as far as what you're saying is, he always pointed people to the deeper things. He fed 5,000 people to prove a point that he is the bread of heaven, and that if you trust in him, you will never go hungry, pointing to the deeper spiritual truth of the things that really matter. And that's, I think that's the point you're kind of bringing out there.
Yes. So, Lori Loomer, she posted a few times about, get ready. Something massive is going to happen that's going to be as big or worse than 9/11.
Oh, boy.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, the video clip we just showed, I'm wondering, does she know something about that we don't?
Well, she's definitely a Mossad operative. I mean, if not Mossad, she's definitely on the payroll of Israel. I mean,
that's what everybody's saying.
Major propagandist for Israel. Her and Mark Levin. Mark Levin is.
He's a nobody.
I don't know who is even watching him on Fox News anymore. I mean,
well, and honest,
skin crawl.
Yeah, and honestly, the only reason he's appearing on our feeds is because they've manipulated the social media to put more pro stuff on there. Because the reality is, no one cares. Even like you go, the boomers and the older people are watching him. No, his ratings. He comes on a Saturday night on Fox News. Mm-hmm. Nobody's watching him. Nobody cares about him. Nobody.
Yet he's over there in Israel, and he's got Trump's ear, and Trump's just fell out. I hate to just. These Q people are just lost. I mean, they are lost. If you think that Trump is playing Israel and not being played by Israel, there's something wrong, man. At this point, I mean, you've got to listen to what comes out of his mouth. And then you have to pay attention to what he does. He has been a Zionist ever since he walked down those escalator steps in 2016. And to this day, he is a Zionist. Make no mistake about it. And that is going to be his goal. He's an old-fashioned America first kind of guy, but his Zionist philosophy totally undermines that every step of the way.
Yeah, and there's so many other things going on with the economy. With the downfall of the United States, and on a national level, we're focused on this. Mm-hmm. It's sad because it's like focus on Israel and what we're doing there, while everything else is crumbling, decaying, dying. Our money, everything, our infrastructure. I mean, you just go drive out on the roads. Mm-hmm. Go look at your states. Go look at. Just go to most of the cities in the United States are Democrat, and they've caused most of that. But go look at the homelessness, and even in the smaller towns, go look at what's going on. And we're focused on this. Mm-hmm. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene did a great job. She came out and she's her and Massey are, and especially her, because she came out. I think she went on one of the Sunday shows that hardly anybody watches, but I saw it on X, saying, America first. She talked about the young. They're never going to be able to own a home. They're not.
Yeah.
They're never going to be able to save money. How do you save something that's losing its value daily?
Daily.
And she's calling these things out, and the generation under me is listening, thankfully, the 20s and the 30-year-old, and hopefully the 40-year-olds are listening, because they're living, the 20s and 30-year-olds are living it.
Mm-hmm.
So my hope is it will change, and I think our economy is going to force that change, because it is dying. It's dying, and it's dying more. It's dying faster than I even expected. I mean, you look at gold
Mm-hmm.
and silver, especially the silver prices, because gold was always kind of like this thing that was designed for, to be a hedge against inflation. And our inflation rate was going up, but it was very slow and methodical, in the sense that the Fed and our government understood that we can't ramp this up too quickly. And then after the pandemic and the mailbox money, it just skyrocketed, and there's no breaks now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an administration, and Trump came out and said, maybe he goes, look, we could possibly grow ourselves out of this with the tariffs and digital currencies and the new technology that's coming out for Web3 and this whole crypto movement that's happening. But I don't think so. I think it's gone on for, I think, we've gone over the cliff. There is no stopping it now. You're falling. Now it's just a matter of, because we're still the global currency, it's still going to take a little time, but it's not what we think it's going to be. It's not, it's going to be 50 years from now or 100 years from now. It's going to be 15, 20 years from now. Everything we know about the economy, everything we know about money, and we believe in that the petrodollar is ours, is going to collapse. And where do we go? I think it's going to be digital currency. But here, if you wonder why your house is unaffordable and everything in life seems more expensive now, it is because our currency is being devalued a little each year. Your 2% raise doesn't keep up with inflation. And that was fine up until about 2010. And just in the last 12 years, our currency has lost 10% of its value. So it's not a slow thing anymore. And then he posted this little diagram, which I thought was interesting. It's the Roman Empire and the debasement of their own currency over time. And this was because of war and their idea of taking over the world, and it just basically crumbled until it was 90% useless. Well, we're at 98% useless at this point. So you look at gold, it's hit an all-time high of, what is it, $4,100. Silver just broke an all-time high, 50, it's 51. It's going to be 52. It's really the canary in the coal mine that is going, that I think we all need to listen to. Elon Musk came out today and said that, and this was talking about Bitcoin, is that you cannot fake energy, meaning, it takes energy to create Bitcoin. It takes nothing to create fiat currency other than a big gun and a lot of people to believe in it. But he said with Bitcoin, you can't fake it like you can fiat currency. And that's why I think Bitcoin will over time be the currency. You're looking at, especially in South America with El Salvador and Argentina, especially El Salvador. They've been mining it for a long time, and it's helping them grow out of their inflationary issues, as well as getting them off the IMF. In fact, what was it, for 3 days ago or late last week, the United States said that we'll start buying their currency. Of course, the reason we're doing that is because we want their rare earth minerals. We want whatever they're manufacturing, we want it. And that's why Elon Musk came out, because he said ultimately AI is the new war and getting these rare earths. But he understands too that you have to go with a currency that cannot be manufactured out of thin air. Now, gold you can mine, but Bitcoin, there's only 21 million left. And at some point in the future, there will be zero. And the only way to get it out is through a lot of energy. And the more you want, the more energy you have to expend to get it. And he's exactly right. I tell everybody I ever see, hard assets, gold, silver, even these nickels. I think we talked about it last episode. Look for the nickels that are older than, I think it was 2012, because they have the most nickel in them. Nowadays, there's no nickel. So if you think you can't afford gold, then buy silver. If you think you can't afford silver because, man, it's gone way up, then start looking at nickels. But Bitcoin too. I mean, you think $120,000 for one Bitcoin. Yeah, that seems crazy, but you can buy fractions of it.
Well, Denise just, why don't you tell them what you do with your 401k?
Oh, I just divided it up into Bitcoin and silver, and I'm in that process of dividing that up and diversifying my old 401k, a significant chunk into Bitcoin and the other amount into silver.
Yes. If you can, and I've done that with some of my investments, and I'm looking at my IRA and thinking, I need to move it into a hard asset, because your mutual funds, and look, none of this is financial advice. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is look at these hard assets and look at the fiat currency and look at your mutual funds and what percentage are you gaining compared to inflation.
Right.
And if you're sitting at, I'm making, 5-6% a year, you're not keeping up. And even if you're making 8-10, look at the fees that they take out for those mutual funds. And unfortunately, because the Federal Reserve is ruining our dollar, we have to become, we have to do all this research and become these investors, because if we don't, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it.
So it's interesting. Someone said thoughts on copper in our comments, and when I was talking to this specific company, it's the KEPM group, Dr. Elliott through InfoWars. When I was talking to them, I guess yesterday, I specifically asked about diversifying even more into some other assets like copper and platinum and palladium and titanium specifically. And he said their recommendation right now that they are telling everybody is silver, silver, silver. He said copper takes up a lot of space to store it. But copper, he was like, obviously, if you want to diversify, any precious metals that you have in hand, tangible, is good. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. But he said a lot of these things, if you don't have somewhere safe to store it and you need someone to store it for you, you're going to be spending a lot in fees for their storage fees. He said the best thing to buy right now, if you possibly can, is silver. And he said, we watch the markets for you. We tell you when things are starting to contract a little bit, when to buy into gold, when to possibly buy into other things. So that was his recommendation.
Yeah, and I think that's sound. I think silver has really taken off just in the last 2-3 weeks, but it's still so undervalued.
Yeah.
Even though it hit an all-time high of 51, it's still undervalued because of what it's used for. It's not just, made to be a store of value, but we use it in solar panels. You use it in all these other things. So it's going. We haven't seen the top of this.
And
so
that's
yeah, I agree with that.
He said silver is going to, I mean, not silver, but gold is going to contract, but silver is going to continue to go up in value. And he said when that happens, then we can start looking at other things. Yeah.
Yeah, he's right. I would continue to buy silver and copper. Look, copper's real cheap right now.
Yep.
As far as buying it as a precious metal, I wouldn't recommend that either because it is kind of weird to store. But look at those mining companies and what are these mining companies doing? Because if you're looking for something cheaper right now, copper's it, and it's going to go up. And these mining companies that are doing, getting copper, it's a good investment. Unfortunately, you have to look at these single stock companies. Someone in the comments said, yeah, you got to do at least 14% return per year to get ahead. And they're absolutely right. That's the unfortunate thing is we've reached a point in our economy that you have to do double digits returns per year or you're not keeping up.
Right.
And it's not just about inflation. Look at how many fees. Look at your financial institution that you're doing business with. How many fees are they taking out? Or if your company's paying for the 401k, look at those fees and figure it out.
Everyone's got a hand in the pie.
Yeah, I mean, and it's taking a lot more, and that's the sad part. And then to make it worse, to make it even worse, I'm going to share this. We're just struggling to stay afloat and have something to leave our kids. And then sure enough, this comes out.
While most Americans had to write a big fat check to the government today to pay their taxes, over 100,000 federal workers are not paying their taxes. In 2021, the IRS found that almost 150,000 federal workers owe about $1.5 billion in unpaid taxes. Over 5,000 of them work at the IRS and owe $50 million in overdue taxes. Even though the IRS can fire its workers that are not paying their taxes, only 20 people have been terminated. That double standard is something Senator Joni Ernst, Senate Doge Caucus chair, wants to stop. She's introducing several bills aimed at cleaning up the IRS. One bill would require IRS employees to be audited every year and fired if they don't pay their taxes. But while the IRS is not catching the tax cheats on their own payroll, they are busy arming their workforce. Ernst is also calling out 10 million taxpayer dollars the IRS has spent on guns and ammo, stockpiling 4,500 guns, 5 million rounds of ammo, even 15 machine guns.
Yeah, why does the IRS need that many guns?
Dude, because I'm telling you, we're going to have a civil war. I mean, they are the Democrats, the Podesta plan is to have a civil war. I mean, and the IRS is the military and the enforcement of the crooked Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
They think that they own you. Literally, they think that they own you. You're cattle. You're only here to produce for them.
It's all about control. It has nothing to do, people say, oh, well, we wouldn't have roads if we didn't pay our taxes. A civil society pays taxes, has nothing to do with it. It's a joke. The entire United States pays $4 trillion in taxes. We're $38 trillion in debt. $4 trillion.
We spent over 10 trillion over the last 20 something years fighting Israel's wars.
Yeah.
What could we have done with $10 trillion? Wow.
Yeah.
All kinds
yeah, absolutely. The infrastructure, the things we could have done. I mean, you look at China, they just built these bridges and these huge
yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy. But yeah. So now it just shows you the IRS. It's all a scam. It's to control you.
Mm-hmm.
if they shut down the IRS tomorrow and no one paid any more taxes, including corporate tax and all that 4 trillion, it wouldn't matter. If the government needs money, they just print it. They don't need your 4 trillion. I don't know what the math is on that, but let's just say, okay, I'm making, $500,000 a year, and you're like, here's $20, throw it in the pot to help you out. It's like, I don't need your $20. You know what I mean? That's kind of the equation. Is it's like they don't need it. It's for control.
Yeah.
Or what did you say? It's for the Federal Reserve. What was that comment you just made? That was good.
Oh, well, they're the enforcement
Yes.
arm, the military arm of the Fed. Both of them are unconstitutional, but
yes,
no, the Treasury should be printing our currency, not a private bank, which is Rothschild, which has been our oldest and most ruthless enemy our country's ever had. I don't know why it's a good idea to let them be in charge of our currency. Gosh.
Yeah.
That's just the idiotic things we do.
Yep. Well, my belief is it's all going to change. It's just going to take a little time.
Yeah.
I think my kids will see it, and definitely my grandkids. They will see it.
Yeah.
They will see a change in money, definitely. Are there any good comments out there, Denise?
So what is your feeling on land?
It's a hard asset.
As opposed to houses. Because I have a feeling the housing market is going to crash and the bubble's going to burst.
Well, I don't. So the value of the house again is not based on the demand. The value of the house is because the currency is devaluing.
Right.
I don't think there's I don't know, maybe the realtors are, I'm not seeing it in the news. I don't think there's a huge demand for houses out there. So the price of that house going up every year by $5,000 to $8,000 a year is not because there's huge demand for your house. It's because the dollar is going down. So I don't think you're going to see a crash in housing prices. I think what you're going to see is, and I think it's a hard asset. So absolutely, if you own rental properties, hang on to them. Don't sell them unless you have to. If you get a good deal on a piece of land, buy it. I don't care where it is. It's a hard asset. Sit on it. Give it to your kids. If I think we're in a state right now where hard assets are the investment.
Okay.
And if you're going to do the stock market, I've never liked mutual funds. And look, this is not financial advice. So nobody run out and say mutual funds are terrible. I don't know anything. This is my opinion. I don't like mutual funds. They're too expensive. They don't go up that much. So now you got to be a stockbroker to figure out which stocks, and you got to go pay companies that go and track that stuff, and you got to go do your research, and you got to be a broker if you want to make money in the stock market, because you can lose it real quick. Same thing with crypto. If you're not into crypto, don't buy any. Buy Bitcoin, store it, and be done. If you're into crypto, okay, you got to get into it. But if you don't want to deal with any of that, just focus on hard assets and Bitcoin, and you'll be fine.
Right.
And I think that's for the average people that just want to work and have a place to store their money. That's what needs to happen. So if you get an opportunity for a piece of land, buy it. I think at this point, they're not making any more. Now, I wouldn't buy it in a Democrat city, but if you find some land out in a farm or something,
for sure.
I wouldn't recommend buying buildings in downtown areas. But yeah, land definitely. The further out, the better. Because if we do get into some shenanigans, you got a place to go.
You're going to want to be off the grid. You're going to want to be where you can self-sustain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is people need to learn how to grow their own food.
We just got rid of our chickens, and now we got the whole Podesta plan wanting to do a civil war. And
why'd you get rid of the chickens? I was coming to trade some seasoning for eggs.
They just pull up so much dirt away from the foundation of the house, away from the fences, around the trees, exposing the roots. It was just kind of a pain in the butt.
We need more land is what we need.
Yeah.
To be honest, we need more land. We need to be out where we can have some acreage. And then it wouldn't be a problem. But here in a subdivision where your yard really can devalue your home significantly, I can have chickens, because I don't want to lock them up. I want them to free range.
Right.
And to do that in the small backyard that we have, it was just, they were too destructive for us to be able to do that.
So did you have any coyotes or anything take them out? Did you lose one?
We lost just one. We lost
when they
one
were younger. Yeah.
when
hawk comes down.
probably a night owl because it happened at night. But otherwise the other little 8 ones, I mean, they were great egg producers. They were happy, very domestic, but they were such destructive little things.
I had one that just loved to just like gradually get up on me here and then get up on my hat and just poop down my back. It was just every time. I know she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, that's our show. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future I mean, it is true, guys. They planned 2025 to be the year where they were going to do public executions, assassinations, to try and just cause the public to fear. And they don't rarely veer from their plans. What did we see before COVID? Event 201. They threw it in your face. They told you they were going to do it. They rehearsed it before they did it. That's how arrogant they are. They have these things planned out.
And don't forget, they've already put out a movie on Netflix called Civil War.
Yeah.
It's on the Podesta plan.
They're getting it in your head.
They're getting it into
And they've been saying, Antifa's been saying, you just wait until you kill some of us, because that is going to be the event. And so a lot of people are thinking they're going to do a false flag at like a black college or, shoot up.
Maybe that's what Lori was talking about. I don't know.
Laura Loomer.
Laura. Yeah. What did I say? Lori. Yeah. Laura Loomer.
Could be.
Karen actually, one of the people in the chat, Karen said, heard the reason Bill Gates is buying up all the land is the water underneath. I have not heard that theory, but that is interesting because I always assumed he'd buy the land to keep it, keep from growing crops or keep people from raising cattle on it because he wants to, basically destroy the earth. But controlling the water, that is interesting. That's even worse, actually.
Even worse.
World Economic Forum has been talking about that. To don't do a pandemic, but to control the water.
Yes, so, that would be a big one. Oof.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, be encouraged. I know there's a lot of darkness tonight as far as the Civil War, the Podesta plan, the assassinations and stuff like that. And, it on the surface, the media wants you to get behind Trump and gee, what a great peace deal. I'm with my wife, and Candace. I mean, we believe this has been planned for a while. Yep. This whole real estate deal, and it should be a crime. Like Jared Kushner should not be able to profit from any of this. Trump should not be able to profit from the Gaza land and the Trump hotels and all that garbage. But it's just the time we live in. So. Anyway, well, Mark, we will see you next week.
All right.
And you guys have anything else you want to close with?
No.
Denise, you got anything?
Hopefully next week is a little bit more uplifting.
Yes.
Just remember that God is sovereign, God is in control, and he has already worked all things out.
Yeah. Amen. The deceived and the deceiver both belong to the Lord. Amen. He's got this, and he's got his remnant. He always has his remnant in his hands. And nothing's going to happen to them that he doesn't want to. And that won't glorify him and produce more character and strengthen us. So that's the good news. That's always the good news. That never changes with the headlines at all. So
amen on that.
all right, brother. We'll
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.